Katika Qur'an tukufu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anatuamuru tukumbushane, kwani kukumbushana kunawafaa waumini. Kwa mujibu wa hadithi, Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam anatushauri tueneze ujumbe wake angalau kwa aya moja. Basi tunatia ari kufanya ambacho ni jukumu la kila Muislamu, kukumbushana mema na kukatazana maovu. Tunakuletea mawaidha za mashehe, wataalam, maustadh, madrasa, makala spesheli na Optifatuma Yakub, mafunzo na historia za mitume na maswahaba, na burudani kupitia nashid na wasifu za munshid. Tazama ukumbi wa Kiislamu nami Alishe kila Ijumaa saa 9:30 katika KBC Channel 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set for Chan 2024. Please watch out for every thrilling goal, every breathtaking moment on our radio stations, on our TV platform, and all on our social media pages. Chan iko KBC.
Praise the Lord. My name is Pastor Tim Mwangi, and I want to invite you for a life-changing, transformative show.
I was blinded and thrown to the floor on my knees, just like Saul.
Conversations.
Gen Z ni nani? E-boldness mnatoa wapi?
Kuna mentality fulani yenye inakujenga, si a rebellion really, but ni ya ku-question system.
Engagements that are life-changing and provocative.
When you are young, your core business should be to create value in yourself.
Join me, DJ Andy C, bringing to you Kingdom Vibe, full of gospel bangers.
Join us for Angaza Show.
Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Only on KBC Channel 1.
Hesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani, uzuri David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to KBC Lunchtime News on this 12th the day of August 2025. It is indeed the International Youth Day, and President William Ruto is leading those celebrations in the western part of Kenya. And also, Niko KBC, we continue to feature all the African teams that have made it so far, with Kenya flying high. But on that segment, I'll be also on sports segment, I'll be telling you the new guidelines that were issued by Confederation of African Football, CAF, in regards to the fans' chaos that happened in Kasarani in some of the matches. But first things first, let's take a look at the headlines shaping up the news conversation in the country and beyond at this hour. My name is Njue. On the sign language interpretation, my colleague, is a lovely lady on the bottom of your screen, is Lucy Mwaura. Straight to the news. Defense Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya says investigations into the Todonyang massacre, which led to at least 41 people dead and dozens injured, are being carried out by the police since the incident occurred within the borders of Kenya. Appearing before the National Assembly Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee, the CS stated that a DOD, that is the Department of Defense, is in the process of acquiring land in Turkana to set up a military base to prevent such incidents from ever occurring again. Soipan stated that following the 22nd of February massacre, additional troops were deployed and patrols were enhanced along the border point. The defense chief says they are collaborating with Ethiopia to keep the peace and ensure trade is not hampered through extra checkpoints.
Listening to the honorable member is just to confirm the reason why we are focused on the border between Kenya and Ethiopia. And Honorable Chair, while we cannot give details, but I know this committee is privy to the spotlight of specific border points of this country that we are paying close attention to. Yes, the land acquisition process is something that started a long time ago, but if we can, have, I know we are going to have a session, a closed session with the committee this weekend. Again, just to give a bit of a more elaborate description of our modernization plan and the focus we are giving to the border point between between Kenya and Ethiopia at the Turkana County area, to really give assurance to the honorable member and the people of Turkana that yes, this process has taken long. The honorable member has highlighted issues to do with our border concerns between us and our neighbors. Again, those are not issues I can talk about here, but at an appropriate forum, if the chair would allow, then we can again discuss the happenings behind the scenes with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other players to make sure that we deal with the border issues. Because Lake Turkana is a Kenyan lake. But the honorable member is right to say the focus should be at the border point, where then we have a number of aspects that touch on the core mandate of KDF and where we need to pay close attention to. The issue about defense attaché, we have just finalized the process of the defense cooperation agreement between us and Ethiopia. It hasn't been there before, but now we have it. And that sets the stage for a more structured engagement with the Ethiopian government, including ensuring cooperation and including the placement of a defense attaché, because it facilitates a lot of day-to-day engagements that make sure that issues don't escalate to the levels of massacres before.
And on a sad note, a heavy cloud of sorrow engulfed Kitengela Sub-County Hospital mortuary as families gathered to identify the bodies of their loved ones following a tragic road accident that claimed 8 lives along the Namanga Road. The post-mortems of the 5 of the victims of the accident has already been conducted as families prepare for the burials. Our reporter Aaron Marie with the details.
Hospital mortuary. Relatives and friends, some still in shock, others inconsolable as they came face to face with the devastating reality of Saturday's morning accident.
Nilikuwa nimetoka at least Kitengela na nikakuta hiyo ajali. Sasa mimi nikajaribu kuavoid hiyo ajali, nikaenda Isinya. Kwenda Isinya ndio nikasikia kuna ajali kuna pastor mtu Masako akanipigia, kaniambia nimeona mke wako ameingia gari fulani. Jaribu kupiga simu, ndio tunapiga simu yake ichukuliwe.
The fatal head-on collision between a PSV matatu and a lorry claimed the life of 8 people, 4 men and 4 women. The Kitengela-bound PSV matatu collided head-on with the lorry heading to Isinya at Korompoi area along the Namanga Road.
Tumepata pigo kubwa Isinya, sababu wote wamefariki ni watu wa Isinya peke yake. Kwa hivyo tunaomba wakubwa mtutengeneze hiyo barabara kwa sababu imeua watu. Hapo mtuwekee bumps kwa sababu saa hii kila wakati hapo watu magari inaanguka hapo.
Habari niliona kwa mapicha zenye zilitumwa kwa mtandao.
The matatu was carrying 15 passengers at the time. Police says 8 survivors, including the lorry driver, are receiving treatment in various hospitals, with 3 in critical condition. Residents says the Korompoi stretch has become a death trap, with at least 7 lives lost in similar accident in the last month alone. They are now calling on the Kenya National Highway Authority to erect speed bumps, hoping that action will be taken to prevent more tragedies on this deadly stretch of the road. Aaron Marie, Lunchtime News.
We do pray for comfort during this difficult time. Elsewhere, a coalition of child rights defenders, public health professionals and community-based organizations have voiced strong support for the newly launched National Alcohol and Drug Policy 2025. The coalition says the policy is a timely step to address a growing national crisis as alcohol abuse is taking a heavy toll on Kenyan communities and the economy. Speaking in Nairobi, the groups expressed concerns that one of 8 Kenyans consume alcohol and 1 in 20 is addicted at the cost of treating alcohol use disorders is high. While some critics argue that raising the drinking age and limiting sales will hurt jobs or infringe on cultural practices, advocates insist the policy prioritizes health and safety over profits. The coalition is calling on stakeholders to protect the policy from misinformation which threatens to water it down.
1 in every 8 Kenyans uses alcohol, with 1 in every 20 persons having an alcohol addiction. These are millions of Kenyans trapped in the cycle of addiction with devastating consequences for their health, families and economic productivity.
In Kajiado alone, for instance, 54.4% of men and women have been beaten by someone who had been drunk from alcohol.
We have seen reports warning that if the new policy is fully implemented, Kenya will lose up to 1.3 million jobs. But we ask, what about the 1.3 million Kenyans already struggling with alcohol use disorders?
We urge the government to move this policy swiftly into necessary laws and regulations with sufficient support for prevention, treatment, enforcement, interagency coordination, and public engagement.
In other news, Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir has assured Kenyans that the long-awaited Gitaru interchange upgrade in Kikuyu, Kiambu County will be completed in just 2 months. This, he said, will finally end years of crippling traffic jams along one of the busiest transport corridors in East Africa. Ben Chumba spent a day at Gitaru to see the difference it could make. Take a look.
It's rush hour at Gitaru in Kikuyu, Kiambu County. For years, this has been a choke point for anyone heading west out of Nairobi or back into the city. Whether you are hauling goods to Uganda, rushing to work, or just trying to get home, the bottleneck is the same: slow, exhausting, and unpredictable.
Being the Great North Road, servicing Uganda, Rwanda, all the way to DRC, the kind of choker blocks that we see at these connecting junctions are causing unnecessary pain to the road users.
But that could soon change. Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir says the Gitaru interchange is on track to be completed in just 2 months, part of a wider plan to unclog Nairobi's notorious traffic hotspots.
Gitaru interchange is a major interchange which unlocks and which has been a really challenged place in terms of the southern bypass coming in, the western bypass coming in, and not having a proper connector. With this being finished in the next 2 months, we'll clean up the traffic snarl-up that has been really witnessed, and that cost the business travelers, including, of course, the road users, significant pain.
The Gitaru upgrade will create a smoother link between the southern and western bypasses and the Nakuru Highway, key roads for trade and travel across East Africa.
This is the real challenged area where we are doing some kind of interchanges, and work has started in earnest, and we also want to really progress. You'll appreciate the challenge of a 6-lane dual carriage to coming to a single carriage, and therefore we need to really expedite the sharing out of vehicles into the Limuru Road, into Maimayu, and of course the Nakuru Road.
But for the people here, the change is about more than just transport corridors. It's about daily life.
Hii barabara inatusaidia sana kwa vile inaleta maendeleo kwa nchi yetu, na hata nini, watu kutoka nje wanakujia pande hii, hata wakubwa wanapita pande hii. Sasa wanaenda development, hiyo barabara hiyo imekamilika, tutakuwa mbele. Hata sisi tutakuwa na biashara, tutafanya biashara kwa vile tuwezi tukakaa namna hiyo.
Every evening, long-distance truck drivers heading to Nakuru, Kisumu or beyond get caught here.
And we will be subjecting tolls to new roads like Rironi Mau Summit and any other new roads that we build, in a way that we are able to maintain roads that are environmentally friendly. What does that mean? You don't have vehicles moving slowly and spending so much fuel on the road and polluting the environment. They are able to move quickly and fast. They are able to save time on the road and basically capitalize on the cost of time.
Work here is intense. Heavy machinery moves at, fresh asphalt is laid, and new lanes take shape. The ministry says this momentum is being felt nationwide as stalled projects get back on track.
So in the next 2 months, we'll clean up the whole of this place, finish Kangemi and finish Kamandura, so that we do not have unnecessary joker blocks around the city. This is part of what is happening across the whole country, in line with the payments of the pending bills. And so what you see here is what you see around Serena, Upper Hill, connecting to Haile Selassie, what you see in Kwachomvu, what you see in Mtwapa, on the way to Kilifi, and across the whole country.
For thousands of motorists who pass here every day, the countdown to October has begun. And if the ministry keeps its promise, relief could be just weeks away. Ben Chumba, Lunchtime News.
Definitely some good news to commuters. And still on roads, residents of Shauriako village in Rironi, Limuru constituency are appealing for urgent repairs to the road linking their village to Kerowe and extending to Kambembe, citing years of neglect and worsening conditions. The locals say the road has been extensively damaged by water, leaving it riddled with potholes and deep trenches that make travel difficult and unsafe for both motorists and pedestrians. They claim their repeated complaints to area leaders have gone unanswered, with no visible efforts to address the problem.
Si hata pikipiki, baiskeli. Ukipata mama mjamzito hapa haezi teremka, wacha kunyesha tu kidogo tu hivi. Unless sasa watu watoke na huko juu wakuja wambebe, juu maji yenye inajanga hapa inakuanga mingi sana, imeharibu hii mitaro yote.
Hata hatuonagi kama tuko Kenya. Na ni ya zamani. Kama hapa mimi nimekaa miaka 35, nilikuta tu hivi. Tunakaa ni tabu.
From roads in Kiambu to Nairobi, where the Nairobi CBD Boda Boda team has urged the county government to construct more Boda Boda stages within the town and have conducive working environment. The riders who complained of harassment from the authority during their daily duties say that they should also be recognized as an economic pillar. The riders were speaking during a Boda Boda engagement at the CBD, the Central Business District, which was organized by Embakasi North Member of Parliament James Mwangi Gakuya. The MP pledged to help register a joint Boda Boda SACCO to enhance financial security.
Manake SACCO ndi itafanya sisi kama watu wa boda boda tutajijenga. Sina request ukiingia pale utupatie ma stages ikuwe recognized, ipitiswe na county ili tupewe hizo stages, sisi tuanze kulipa. Si ndio?
Boda zikubaliwe cooperate. Vijana wamejipatia boka. Na ni vizuri kwa sababu hii timu yote tungekuwa ikitafuta chakula wapi? Na sahani ya kila jioni ni lazima mtu arudi nyumbani na kakitu.
Very well, about 17 minutes past the top of the hour. We are due for our first break, but when we come back, I'll still run you through a couple of more stories. Then we make sense of business, and later on, I'll be telling you all about the new Lock Organizing Committee, or LOC, that is calling on football fans to comply with CAF security requirement after Kasarani was reduced from 48,000 capacity to about 27,000. More on that after this break.
Wasi wengi walikuwa wame undermine Harambee Stars for way long. Tulikuwa tunajua Harambee Stars, like kila msali alikuwa na notion fulani, because we're not judging them simply because of the former games to play with other teams na venye tumeona game imekuwa. But right now we have a new team, new squad, and fun fact, this is what I want to say about generally Harambee Stars. Sahi we need them to chukua players wenye wamecheza KPL from different clubs wanaweka pale. This is the reason why at Harambee Stars it's working. It's because we are taking players from KPL na tunawaleta sasa. That's why it's working. Naomba ikukue hivyo tena na tena, we just tuendelee kuangalia ligi, tuangalie KPL, tujue who is who and who is who.
Introducing Duracoat Aquatec Clean Shield, Kenya's fast tintable waterproofing paint.
Danja trying to chase and keep that ball in play. Yes, he does. Danja looking for the 1-2, but that's hit a little too hard. Can he keep it within the parameters of the play? Yes, he does. Danja Suleiman loses possession here. Salifu Samali. Salifu Samaila trying to chase here. Jude Semugabi getting embroiled into a scuffle with Abdul Kadir. The ball taken back to the goalkeeper. Player's name is Samaila Salifu. Apologies there. Danja, as is popularly known, back in Niger. And now here comes Regan Pandey. Sidesteps, leaves his marker on the ground, chips the cross in, arriving late. Jude Semugabi had hoped to make an impact there. Telling it will be. Encouraging it is. Regan Pandey is buoyed with confidence, taking on every player with supreme ability, knowing that he has whatever it takes in the ranks to pull it off in a one-on-one situation.
Back
Back your favorite team as they battle for glory in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship 2024, right here on home soil.
Meet the experts who empower you with competent skills at craft, certificate, and diploma level. Sensei Institute of Technology. My skills, my future.
Hesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani, uzuri David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Moving on, Kenya and the Islamic Republic of Iran will continue to expand and strengthen the Joint Commission for Cooperation to enhance their bilateral relationship, particularly in trade and other sectors. Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi and the Islamic Republic of Iran Minister of Agriculture Dr. Ghulamreza Nouri said the two countries will work in eliminating all impediments between the two nations.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi and the Islamic Republic of Iran Minister of Agriculture Dr. Ghulamreza Nouri led top government officials in the opening of the 7th session of the Kenya-Iran Joint Commission for Cooperation, which will mark a transformative step in the bilateral relations of the two countries. This commission will facilitate the expansion of various sectors, including agriculture, industries, transportation, infrastructure, scientific education, and culture, among others.
We have resolved to involving the relevant parties from both countries to work within a time frame of 60 days.
Between the two countries are one or two of the main issues that we are facing, given the fact of the distance between the two countries of Iran.
The Kenya-Iran Joint Commission for Cooperation will address all trade challenges.
We have also spoken at length about the current situation that exists in terms of the ban on Kenya tea in Iran. We have been very candid with each other, thanks to the intervention also of the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi in this area.
We have agreed upon creating a joint committee that will be working under the time of 60 days, and within the 60 days we will solve any kind of problems that happen, and hopefully we avoid the forthcoming problems relating to this issue.
The host Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi highlighted the deepening and cooperation between Kenya and Iran.
I reaffirm the government of Kenya's unwavering commitment to this partnership.
The Commission will facilitate the expansion of trade engagements between the two countries through the African Continental Free Trade Area frameworks.
Now time to tilt the lens and shift focus to matters business. Absa Bank Kenya has recorded a 9.1% increase in its half-year net profit to 11.68 billion shillings, driven by lower interest expenses. The lender has proposed an interim dividend payout of 20 cents per share, which is similar to what was paid out last year.
Absa Bank Kenya reduced lending by 3.6% to 316.37 billion shillings from 304.94 billion shillings in the first 6 months of this year. This impacted interest income on loans and advances that dipped from 27.35 billion shillings to 22.38 billion shillings. However, there was a growth in non-interest income and reduced interest expenses, which helped power up net profits to 11.68 billion shillings.
1% drop in revenue, 1% up in costs, 38% drop in the impairment numbers, and in there then you can be able to see for this reporting period, profit after tax up 9%.
Total operating expenses reduced 11.47% to 14.66 billion shillings from 16.56 billion shillings, mainly powered by lower interest expenses to 7.57 billion shillings.
Cost to income ratio continues to be good, and this is largely because of the digital agenda and the fact that we are starting to see significant percentages of our customers going into self-serving channels, and therefore that will continue to drop as we move along.
Total assets increased 10.4% to 531.58 billion shillings, mainly driven by higher customer deposits that hit 361.34 billion shillings. Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Moving on, the government is developing guidelines to unlock small and micro public-private partnerships with plans to set up a dedicated unit to tap opportunities at the county level. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says 37 projects, both national and county, are in the pipeline and won't be financed through the public-private partnership PPP model. He says this will free up public resources for essential social sectors such as health, education and water.
Billion shillings, leaving a funding gap of 336 billion shillings each year. To bridge the shortfall, the National Treasury, through the PPP Directorate, plans to mobilize 293.6 billion shillings in the current financial year for key projects.
If we succeed with all these projects, it's going to reduce pressure significantly on our fiscal space, and therefore we will have money to take care of other pressing and urgent needs.
We want to encourage you to look at this destination, look at opportunities in various areas in the road sector, in the transport sector. We are looking at a new airport. We're looking at the ports. We need to really have the kind of ports that we see out there in the world.
This include the Galana Kulalo Food Security Program, the Africa 50-backed high-voltage transmission line, the Nairobi Mau Summit Road, and the Sabaki Water and Sanitation Project to supply water in Mombasa and Kilifi counties.
We need to tell the public that this is a project that we want to do, and this is the scope, this is the costing.
Badi says the government has curated a portfolio of 37 projects for public-private partnerships.
We are working on a number of projects. You have just been told 37 of them cumulatively, 34 at the national government level and 3 at the county level.
It's a time when we are leveraging more on PPPs, because at least we can be able to do a number of projects without having to fund from the budget.
He says the public-private partnership model will allow the state to deliver large-scale infrastructure traditionally funded through public debt, while freeing up public resources for essential services.
To have the correct reserve to protect this country from possible shocks, to keep that balance, to maintain economic growth of over 5%. All this for us to achieve, we must be innovative in looking for money to do our projects so that we don't put a strain on our budget.
However, officials acknowledge that the PPP Act of 2021 is yet to become fully operational, slowing project turnaround times. Wairi Mujenga for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, cook stove adoption in Kenya has jumped up by 78% in Kenya as it expands access to clean and climate-friendly cooking solutions. Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says clean cooking is now a critical pillar in Kenya's climate action and public health agenda. Annual sales from clean cook stove have increased from 250,000 units in 2019 to more than 850,000 in the year 2024.
The uptake of clean cooking solution is surging, fueled by deliberate efforts to modernize the improved cook stove market. According to the government, this progress stems from targeted investments, strategic partnerships, and initiatives designed to make clean cooking technologies more affordable and accessible nationwide.
We must reduce the household air pollution. We have already finalized the consumer and enterprise financing strategy for clean cooking solutions. We have already supported the establishment of interim clean cooking implementation unit, developed its terms of reference and harmonized its mandate with the Interministerial Committee on Clean Cooking.
We have been able to promote improved cook stoves, simple but powerful solution for reducing fuel use and pollution, saving time and money, creating youth jobs, and easing burdens on women and children. Locally made, scalable, and inclusive, the stoves have restored dignity to cooking.
In partnership with the German Development Corporation through the Green Climate Fund, the government has given pickups and 35 five-wheeler tuk-tuks valued at 68 million shillings to 42 improved cook stove producers and distributors, which they say will enable beneficiaries to reach last-mile consumers.
And it has complemented the government's efforts to promote energy efficiency, reduce dependence on biomass, and accelerate the adoption of cleaner, more sustainable technologies.
So it will enable you to access the consumers, that was said earlier, to a much better rate, to really bridge also the last mile of the market, and to bring the new technology and the clean cooking solutions to the customers. And also, by the end of the day, help Kenya to meet its NDC climate mitigation goals.
The project, now active in 40 counties, has set up stove testing laboratories and trained more than 500 last-mile entrepreneurs and supported over 120 producers with professional clean stove kits.
We have even been trained how to do our markets and even how we can go on without, when you are out of our way. Then when we are all alone in our own production and our sales, what we are going to do now, we are going to promote this business more than even before, because you have shown us the way.
Elsewhere, the cost of rice could increase in the coming days following the suspension of a planned importation of duty-free grain to cover a projected deficit. Farmers requested for a freeze in rice importation until all local produce is purchased.
We have imported rice almost all our lives. In the last 3 years, for example, we have imported an average of about 700,000 metric tons.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe pushed for gazettement of a duty-free importation of rice to cover projected deficits.
We produce about 125,000 metric tons, which the whole year, which can only feed us about a month.
This is because while Kenya produces about 200,000 metric tons annually, consumption is about 1 million metric tons, with imports covering the deficit.
We only produce about 20% of our rice intake, of our rice consumption. Only 20%. The rest of it, year in, year out, is imported rice.
However, farmers in rice-producing areas protested the move, arguing that imported rice would flood the market and render their produce uncompetitive.
Ombi langu tu ni kwa ajili ya Butula sub-county, naomba tu
tuletewe hata sisi pia mashini hapa karibu.
Kenya's rice import bill rose 87% from 53.76 billion shillings to 67.85 billion shillings for the purchase of 899,000 metric tons of rice in 2024.
If we do not import rice, it means that the price of food in Kenya will become unattainable for a lot of people. It means that the price of, if rice increases to the extent where people cannot be able to buy rice, what they do then is shift to something else. For example, they go to maize. Then the demand for maize increases so much that maize becomes very expensive. So we have to maintain a certain balance.
The planned rice importation remains suspended until the 14th of August 2025, when further directions will be issued. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Time for sports. The local organizing committee LOC of the ongoing African Nations Championship CHAN is calling on Kenyan football fans to comply with CAF security requirement for seamless running of the continental event. Kenya faces Zambia on Sunday in their final group stage match, a fixture expected to attract thousands of fans to the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, which capacity has been capped at 27,000 by CAF following security lapses during Saturday's clash between Kenya and Morocco.
Local organizing chairman Nicholas Musonye praised Kenyan fans for their passion in supporting the national team Harambee Stars. However, he warned that increased incidents of fans breaching security measures will attract sanctions from CAF.
We appreciate the support our spectators have given Harambee Stars. We appreciate the many supporters who have attended our matches from the beginning, both at Nyayo and Kasarani. But we are disappointed a bit because of the few who have violated regulations to break into the stadium and force their way through.
To prevent further breaches, the local organizing committee has issued fresh directives.
We don't want to compromise our reputation. We want Kenya to remain the beacon of hope, order and discipline south of Sahara.
Fans are urged to purchase tickets exclusively from the authorized online vendor with only e-tickets, not printed copies, accepted at the entry points. Ticket holders should arrive at least 5 hours before kickoff with tickets ready on their mobile phones for faster verification.
The Harambee Stars is performing very well, and you can see the performance of the national team. Please, let us not put that at risk. Let us not deny them victory because of the fan trouble that we've had over the last couple of games.
Kenya faces Zambia on Sunday in their final Group A match, a fixture that is expected to draw hordes of fans to Moi Kasarani Stadium.
Also good to note that Kenya hasn't lost a match in the CHAN, and of course we're expecting them to do the same on Sunday. Elsewhere, defending champions Nigeria were the first team to arrive in Kenya ahead of the Africa Youth Scrabble Championship set to be held at the Brighton International School in Syokimau, Machakos County from the 14th to the 17th of August. The first batch of Ghanaian team also arrived on Monday night, led by team leader Charles Haizo Tachie. The rest of the team expected to arrive this week.
Africa Youth Scrabble champions Nigeria have arrived in the country, led by under-19 boys champion David Oje and under-15 girls top-rated player Sophia Ekeruche. The Nigerian contingent of 25 landed in Kenya on Monday night, just 2 days to the start of the tournament in its second edition.
Back there in Nigeria, whereby I'm currently the master category. So every master tournament I've been going, I've been placing, because I've been giving it my hard best to be there. So I've been playing well, and I know I'm going to take the first year to the masters and to the senior category.
I don't have a title internationally, so that's what I want to make it the first time, having it internationally. But down to Nigeria, being the best under 15 player in Nigeria. So that's what I want to come and prove in Kenya. So taking the trophy home is my main goal.
You know, we Nigerians, anything we have a passion for. Even when we speak, you see that there's a lot of passion in our speaking.
And Scrabble comes to us naturally because it's a game for the intelligent people. If you are not intelligent, you have to build up your game.
The first batch of the Ghanaian team also arrived on Monday night, led by team leader Charles Hazel Tachier, with the rest of the team expected to arrive this week.
This is just the second time Ghana is taking part in the AYSC, and this time we went through qualification series, and we've chosen the best players that we can get across the country.
Ghana will have a contingent of 12 players split across the Africa Youth Scrabble Championship and the President's Cup, which will run concurrently with the AYSC but to be held in Nairobi. Ghana will be using the President's Cup tournament to gauge some of their players before the city of Accra hosts the World Scrabble Championship in November this year.
Finally, over 102 junior golfers gathered in Kisumu for a one-day tournament and clinic aimed at popularizing the sport among youth in the region. The tournament, organized by Kasuku Foundation and KCB Assets, seeks to demystify the notion that gold is a rich old people's sport. That is, golf is a rich old people's sport. Let's take a look at that.
Two junior golfers gathered at the Kisumu's Nyanza Golf Club for a day-long tournament and golf clinic as part of the ongoing efforts by the Elisha Kasuku Foundation to grow golf amongst youths across the divide.
And whatever we have seen today here is really very, very encouraging, having juniors way back from Kisii, Kericho, Nandi, and Kakamega, and we have got over 100 juniors today here. We are overwhelmed.
We had a competition today and all of us had fun. We enjoyed, all of us. And if you want to join Nyanza Golf Club, we are anytime and you can bring your family.
This is the second edition of a series of similar tournaments that kicked off in Nairobi early this year.
It started at Royal Nairobi Golf Club on May 17th, and now we are in Nyanza, Western region, and from here we'll definitely move to Rift Valley, Nakuru.
We are making sure that we progress the junior golf by coming together, bringing these children together, especially over the holidays, to have a meet where the children can meet each other, can get to learn from one another.
The budding golfers were drawn from golf courses across the region.
JGF has been supporting training of children every Sunday here on our course, and we have a pro on site who does the training. So we request that the juniors who are available can come and be trained.
The JGF program is open. The parents that doesn't have to be members of the club.
Achola Simon, Lunchtime News, Kisumu County.
Achola Simon there with the youngsters proving that gold is not a rich old people's sports. It's also called the gentleman's game, just like boxing is called the sweet science of boxing. Anyway, that's where I put a cap on sports and lunchtime news this Tuesday afternoon. And thanks indeed for joining us. And on behalf of everyone who's made this broadcast a success, my name is Njue. Lucy Mwaura has been my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Don't forget to check out our social media spaces for this news plus much more. Remember, we do not have our 7 and 9 p.m. Reason being, Chan Iko KBC. So make a date with us at 5 and also at 8 for Chan. Many thanks indeed. Do have yourself a fantastic afternoon.
It's here, it's bigger, it's better. For over a decade, the Devolution Conference has brought together local and international delegates to share ideas, build partnerships, and accelerate service delivery across counties. The Devolution Conference 2025 kicks off on the 12th to the 15th of August at Homa Bay School in the heart of Homa Bay County. This year's theme is For the People, for Prosperity. Devolution as a catalyst for inclusion, equity, and social justice. This year, we're doing things differently. We're listening to you. Every breakout session is partner-led, focused on good governance, human rights, financial inclusivity, and social justice. The conference will be officially opened by His Excellency the President, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, on the 13th of August 2025. To participate, register today at www.devolutionconference.cog.go.ke. Deadline for registration is the 8th of August 2025. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1. The Devolution Conference 2025, for the people, for prosperity.
Hesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani uzuri, David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
We are real people who give real care. Visit www.definiteassurance.com or email info@definiteassurance.com for more information or contact